Now, we are seeing some insane stuff on God Valley. Roger clashing with Whitebeard, Whitebeard running away from Garp alongside Big Mom and Kaido. Big Mom attack doing nothing to Garp and him talking shit right after. And of course, we're gonna see more with Rocks, Garp, and Roger all interacting. It's pretty cool to see. Even Rayleigh's in the motion now with his attack. All I'm trying to say is this: God Valley has some of the strongest characters I've ever seen, surpassing even the likes of Marineford. In my opinion, God Valley War is a stronger war than Marineford, because you have the Rocks Pirates, the Roger Pirates, the Marines, and the Holy Knights. That to me surpasses the Yonko Whitebeard in his old age and his crew, the Warlords, of course, and the Marines. Even though the Marines had their entire asset there with the 3 admirals, Fleet Admiral Son Goku and Vice Admiral Garp, I still don't think that the fact that all these guys are in their primes and they're legends of legends, and it's gonna make Onigashima Raid and Marineford look like nothing. So we're already getting some epic stuff in the beginning. We even have Dragon there, for goodness sake. With all the all-star power here, it's time we decide who really is the strongest on these islands. Subscribe to the channel and turn on notification as we do a deep dive on the strongest characters on God Valley. Now, some honorable mentions. Of course, Bogard is a meme character, but he is alongside Garp, who's a monster, so you gotta mention him. Summers is pretty strong as well, but we do know that Rayleigh destroys him pretty easily. Gonko is the secret weapon for the Holy Knights, so you know that her connection to Imu makes her stronger. Kaido as well. Kaido right now is stronger. He's been with the crew for I think a good 6 years, I believe. I think 6 years, I'm not too sure, but yeah, he's pretty strong. But he's definitely worthy of honorable mention. Captain John seems to have kids Delphu, so definitely an honorable mention there as well. Silver Axe is rivals to Shiki, and I think Shiki's incredibly powerful, so you have to respect Silver Axe. And maybe some hidden Holy Knights that we do not know of yet. Imu, if Imu arrives, Imu's in this list, of course. If Harold arrives, Harold's in this list, of course. Like, we've seen Harold and Rocks fight too many times for me not to put Harold in this list. So number 10 for me is Big Mom. The reason why I have Big Mom at number 10 is because Big Mom is not in her prime. This is confirmed by Sengoku already, but Big Mom is closer to her prime than Kaido. That's one thing for sure. Her age is like only roughly around like 10 years younger than the legends that are in their prime here, so I still think that Big Mom is close to her prime, and she does become a Yonko relatively soon after God Valley, in my opinion. I think her crew formed by her kids makes her slow down the process of her becoming Yonko, but her as her individual power is stronger. We see her talking down Kaido multiple times, even during the Garp exchange when Kaido wanted to fight Garp. Big Mom tells Kaido can it, and she attacks, where Whitebeard doesn't even want to fight because he knows how long the fight's going to be. Big Mom attacks Garp. Now, I do gotta say, Big Mom's attack does nothing to Garp as he tanks it and actually talks shit to Big Mom, showing that they have some previous interactions before. Garp has fought Linlin before in the past, and I do gotta give her some respect because she's still Big Mom, and she's more agile. Even though she's more agile, she's not at her peak physical strength, in my opinion, and that's why, in my opinion, Big Mom has to be in a safe spot number 10. You know, she's kind of the litmus of the monsters of God Valley. Like, if you're not strong than Big Mom, you're not gonna make this list. Number 9 to me is Scopper Gaban, and this might be controversial because Scopper Gaban is the 3rd strongest in the Roger Pirates, while Big Mom became a Yonko. But the reason why I think Scopper Gaban is so strong is what we're seeing in his old age. What he did against Summers, what he did against Luffy, what he did against Zoro. Well, he didn't fight Zoro, but Zoro went pretty much almost King of Hell mode. He had the Kankosaki coated off his sword, and Luffy went Gear 5 mode with their Kankosaki leaking. And he even commented on Zoro, saying, "You didn't even know you're using Kankosaki?" Like, yeah. Scopper Gaban, future sight, Kankosaki coating in his old age, insane axe work, saved Roger one time when Roger needed a hospital, and that's how he got his name as the Mountain Eater. And in his prime, I don't think he's in his prime yet, but I do think he's closer to his prime than Big Mom. And that's the reason why I'm gonna put him at number 9. I think he's around Big Mom level, but I'm gonna give Gaban some respect in that sense. Number 8 is Silver's Rayleigh. Silver Rayleigh is super close to Roger and Gaban. He's that in between Roger and Gaban, in my opinion. Closer to Gaban than Roger, because Roger is insanely powerful. But Rayleigh, we saw what he did in his old age against Kizaru. Pulled out the Kankosaki coating sword against Blackbeard. Yeah, Rayleigh is incredibly powerful. That's something that we do not have to question because of what he saw in his old age. In his prime, in the Whitebeard Pirates fight, he's just in the anime one finger actually for Marco. That's incredibly powerful. Now, I do gotta say this: he got Shaki. Roger's hands were tied, so he's the one who defeated Summers, one-shotted him, and Summers not a joke. So the fact that he one-shotted Summers I do got to give respect to Rayleigh, but I do think at the end of the day, Rayleigh is not his captain, yo. He is the vice captain. I think 8's a safe spot, yo. He might go higher if I see more in God Valley, but right now I think 8's a safe spot. Especially him and Gaban have to be relative. And I think the fact that I put them both above Big Mom is a big hot take right there, because Big Mom became a monster. We know that. So yeah, it's a lot of respect I have for the wings of the Roger Pirates. Next on my list is Shiki. Now, people might get angry for me putting Shiki above Rayleigh and above Gaban, but the reason why I do that is because Shiki has an insanely hacked Stealth Fruit, and he has a 2-sword style, and you have to understand, Shiki is not your normal wing of a captain, yo. Shiki and Whitebeard are not like not like Rayleigh and Gaban, where they're pretty much just a natural wings. No, these guys are captains that became wings because their captain is that strong. So that, in my opinion, you got to put Shiki at a safe 7 spot. We know what he did in his prime. He went up against Roger during the Ed War. Rayleigh and Gaban's captain. We know he went up against Garp and Sengoku and destroyed half Marine Ford. That was insane, and we see what Garp is doing on God Valley. So yeah, Shiki to me, we know he's the 3rd strongest in the Rocks Pirates. He's stronger than Big Mom in my opinion. So I do think that this is a safe spot for Shiki. Next on my list, at number 6, I'm probably gonna say Garling. Now I know Garling doesn't really have some insane feats, but we know he's the strongest Holy Knight. We know that in his old age, he became a Gorosei member and probably got some insane hacks powers from him. But still, we know that he was the Holy Knight commander in his old age as well. We know his son, Shamrock, has insane power with the Cerberus sword, which Loki even respected. We know his son, Shanks, became a Yonko. Yeah, in my opinion, Garling in his prime has to be strong. And Whitebeard could hint at him getting scarred by Garling. So I do think that Garling at 6 is a cool spot, and depending on what happens in God Valley, he might go lower. I might put Shiki, Rayleigh, Gaban, and Big Mom above Garling. I might keep him and maybe even put him higher depending on his performance, but I do think he will have a good performance. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. Now the top 5 gets really interesting, and I'm gonna put a very controversial take, but I think Saturn. Don't forget that Saturn is here on God Valley, and I think Saturn is a Gorosei from the Void Sentry. One of Imu's guards. You have to put respect on Saturn. What he did on Egghead Island, people kind of like to shit on Saturn because of his performance at Egghead Island, but he's still immortal. He still has Conqueror's Haki. He still made Kizaru, Luffy, Zoro, Lucci, Jinbei. Everyone noticed Sanji. Everyone noticed when Saturn arrived, yo. He's not a weakling. He's just that, of course, people look at the moment where Gear 5 grabs Saturn in Kizaru's face and sends him flying as like, yo, Saturn's not that strong. Yo, Saturn came back after that attack, yo. He continued to fight Luffy. And I do think that Saturn on God Valley, a lot of these guys are not in their prime. I think Saturn is top 5. I do think that. And I think he has to be stronger than Garling, because Garling's not even a Gorosei member. You don't have Garling stronger than a Gorosei if he's not a part of the Gorosei. Number 4 to me is Whitebeard, and Whitebeard is getting a lot of flack recently, running from Monkey D. Garp, which I do think is good for me, because I do believe that in their old age, Garp was stronger because Whitebeard was sick, and that made Garp stronger in their old age. But honestly, in their prime, I wasn't too sure. I thought Whitebeard had the strongest Delphi Paramecia, and he of course had insane Haki, seen with his Roger Clash. But now on God Valley, we know that maybe he wasn't at his pre-peak, just like Big Mom and Kaido. And if Whitebeard wasn't on his peak, just like Big Mom and Kaido, then the 3 guys above him might be stronger. Maybe that's why Oda's emphasizing the 3 guys instead of Whitebeard. But Whitebeard still interacted with Roger. Yeah, he ran from Garp, but he still clashed with Roger and had an insane clash there. We know that Big Mom was kind of pissed off at him. We know that his Delphi is pretty much doing insane stuff in this Rock's flashback. And Rock's trust him as pretty much the second in command, in my opinion. And that's, you have to understand, maybe Whitebeard does think he has a chance against Roxy's spec. Even though I think Rox is stronger, I think you have to understand, look at all these strong crew members, and then there's Whitebeard. Whitebeard in his power, in his youth, is insane. And I think number 4 is a good spot. But I do think that narratively wise, Whitebeard, you're not getting some good slack narratively wise, even though he did say that the fight with Dragon, so maybe he fought Garp in the past and knows how strong Garp is. He's like, oh yeah, we're on the same level, so I don't want to fight him. But he had Kaido and Big Mom with him, guys. Come on guys. I do think that this is why Whitebeard has to solidify himself as 4, and the other 3 get to go above him. Number 3 is Monkey D. Garp. People might say Monkey D. Garp at 3, he should be at 2 after what he recently did, making Whitebeard, Big Mom, and Kaido run, tanking Big Mom's attack, Yeah, people think that he needs to deserve the respect. Roger and Rox were kind of alerted when Garp arrived on the island, and he was the hero of the Marines, the strongest Marine of all time. People say put some respect on Garp's name. Now, the reason why I don't have Garp as number 1 or 2 is because he said something interesting in this chapter. He said, "Where's Roger?" Where Rox is focused on his kid and Roger's focused on Shiki, he's focused on Roger. That to me means he respects Roger's power, and I think if you respect Roger's power and you want to defeat Roger, Rox, in my opinion, is above Roger. So yeah, I think that this kind of makes me think that yes, they're on the same level, but I probably am gonna put the 2 above. And the fact that Roger and Garp team up, that's how strong the Rox crew was. Yeah, this is definitely, we're gonna need to see more, but I do think that Garp has confirmed above Whitebeard after last chapter. I still think to put him above Roger and Rox is gonna be tough. I think he's same level as Roger. They fought so many times, but Rox, I think no, his number 1 spot is not gonna be taken because of this. And I kind of just leaked it, but whatever. Yeah, Roger is number 2. Roger's number 2, guys. He's casually clashing with Whitebeard while talking to Rayleigh and saying, "Oh yeah, go for Shiki," giving him a kind of like a glare, a wink, knowing what he really knows. Roger interacted with Rox recently in that Shiki tavern a couple years ago, I think, and he didn't have no fear for Rox. And Rox is said to be his greatest foe, and you understand Garp is chasing down Roger. I think Roger is the guy, if I'm being honest. He reached pinnacle of Pirate King. Shiki wanted that smoke. We know Big Mom wanted that smoke. We know Whitebeard got that smoke in that 3-day fight, and Roger was kind of sick in that fight. So yeah, I do think that Roger on God Valley is going to show why he is the pinnacle. I just can't put him at number 1 yet because Rox is leading Whitebeard, Big Mom, Kaido, Shiki, Silver Axe, Captain John, Ochoku. Like, he's leading some monsters, guys. So that's the reason why. But Rox is not just number 1 because of that. Rox is number 1 because Oda hasn't even shown him fight yet. He's shown Roger against Whitebeard. He's shown Garp versus the Yonko. He hasn't shown Rox, guys. And we know that Rox, 18 years ago, what he did, guys. 18 years before God Valley, he killed an admiral and met up with Imu. Clashed in a Conqueror's Aki-coded attack with King Harold. Then clashed with Harold again in a fight. Like, what more do you want from Rox, guys? Like, what more do you want? And I'm telling you guys right now, Rox to me is the pinnacle of pirate strength. I do think once Roger defeats him and Roger later in his peak reaches his prime, I do think Roger is going to be above Rox as number 1. But right now, I'm telling you guys right now, Rox still, no one has proven to me that Rox is not number 1 on God Valley. I still haven't got that proof yet. And we're getting more details, but I need more if you're going to dethrone the guy who wanted to be king of the world in Rox D. Xebec. Or should I say Davey D. Xebec? Maybe that sounds better.